Hello, YouTube. In my search for the answers about some very strange ancient helmets discovered in Central Asia, I follow leads about Alexander the Great, and I keep finding very interesting facts about this very mysterious ancient leader. Some of them I want to share with you, and I hope that in a few years I'll get the answers to the helmets that I keep mentioning about Central Asia. Very unusual objects with really fantastic powers, so to say. But there's not enough for me to talk now. But today I do want to talk about the golden helmet of Iskandar. In the East, Alexander the Great is traditionally called Zul Karnain, which means two-horned in Arabic. This nickname was given to the Macedonian king for a reason. His golden helmet was decorated with two curled ram horns. However, such a helmet cannot be called exclusive to him. Many kings of the ancient era loved to decorate their head armor with horns. For example, the so-called mutton helmet was owned by a Greek king named Pyrrhus, the one who went down in history with saying the Pyrrhic victory. Another Macedonian ruler, Philip V, also sported a helmet with horns. It was Alexander the Great who started the fashion for horns, actually. When he appeared in Egypt with his troops, the people there, suffering from the Persian yoke, immediately named Alexander the Liberator. The Egyptian priests went much further than ordinary people. They declared that the Macedonian king was nothing less than the son of the god Ammon, the main one in the Egyptian pantheon. As you may know, the totem animal of the god Ammon was a ram. Therefore, King Alexander decorated his golden helmet with the horns of this particular animal. And it wasn't just curled jewelry, so to say. The horns emphasized the divine origin of the Macedonian ruler, his military fortune, power, and his bravery. To say what we know, Alexander never wore his mutton helmet to battle. During the battles, King Alexander the Great wore a different so-called lion helmet. Firstly, because gold is a very soft metal and is not suitable for protection. And secondly, this helmet was not an element of armor, but a magical talisman. Often, when going on campaigns, Alexander left the golden helmet in the capital so that it would guard the capital in the absence of the king himself. So Alexander the Great did not take his ram helmet to the Indian campaign in India. Seasoned veterans immediately began to whisper that the campaign would not end well. The soldiers who had not seen their loved ones for 7 years went to India with great reluctance. And they were right. Local rulers fiercely resisted the invaders. Tropical diseases constantly mowed down Alexander's army. The warriors were constantly bitten by snakes and poisonous insects. And also, it would rain for weeks non-stop. As a result, the Macedonian army rebelled, and King Alexander was forced to return to Babylon, the new capital of his empire. He lived there for a very short time and died suddenly at the age of 33 from the mysterious illness. At that time, he was in Pella, the capital of Macedonia, and Alexander's hometown, realizing that it was impossible to do without divine help. The king sent several of the most loyal warriors to get the horn helmet, which was in Pella. The messengers reached Macedonia safely and took the golden talisman. However, his mutton or ram helmet did not reach Alexander. Somewhere in the vastness of the North Caucasus, the royal couriers were ambushed, and the mountain robbers killed a few Macedonians and captured the relic. Enraged, Alexander sent a whole army to the Caucasus. But while the army was catching bandits, the king died in Babylon without his talisman or amulet, call it what you want. The robbers were caught, but even under torture, they refused to tell the place where this wonderful helmet was hidden. And the precious headdress of the Macedonian king has not been found to this day, but there are people still looking for it. Well, we had this movie in the Soviet Union when I was in my early teens too. It was called Gentleman of Fortune, very popular comedy, very cool movie. And it had to do with the golden helmet of Alexander the Great. So people have been wondering what was that object that presented itself in the movie, the object that to be golden helmet. This was an ordinary fire helmet, which the Russian film studio called Mosfilm craftsmen skillfully attached horns to and then covered the metal with gold paint. By the way, after the filming of The Gentleman of Fortune, the fake helmet also disappeared mysteriously. It could not be found for many years. Finally, it was accidentally discovered on the mezzanine among various junk. Nowadays, this artifact is in the Mosfilm Museum, and people can see it. You know, Alexander the Great, he was a very mysterious warrior of the ancient world. And I try to bring some interesting facts, bordering on the paranormal about him, and will continue to do so. But he was one of the greatest generals in the history of antiquity. Very unusual human being who might have had encounters with beings that are not entirely human as well. And I think I've covered a lot of it in my videos and will do more. Actually, people say it's still unknown what made this king seize new territories non-stop. He was known as Iskandar al-Magduni al-Yunani, Alexander the Macedonian Greek in Arabic, Alexander Mogdon in Hebrew, and Tre Karnaya in Aramaic, the two-horned one, apparently due to the image on coins minted during his rule. So, this is what I wanted to let you know about Alexander the Great and his very unusual helmet. Definitely, there's much more to tell about him. And I did, by the way, about his descent into the waters, his submarine-like craft. But there is more. I urge you to read the very unusual book by Ivan Yefremov, the Russian scientist that I'm telling you about in my videos, Thais of Athens. And you will discover things about Alexander the Great that very few people know. There was a reason that Ivan Yefremov paid his attention to this ancient king, and I think you will find a lot of answers in the book. So I thank you for your attention to my work. Please tell others about it. I try to bring up interesting facts and stories from antiquity. Maybe it will help us better understand modern times. If you can support my research, you will find how to do it in the description to this video. Please subscribe to my channel, and thank you for your attention.